Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
A museum / sort of zoology centre. I think it's a zoology museum. I'm going to go with that. Down in Cambridge.
Decided they've been defined.
Well, I can't double check because my phone is dead, as always. So they have just opened a new whale hall. I know.
A what?
A whale hall. And
is that its official name?
Yeah, it's
the whale hall.
There's a room in there called the whale hall.
The surname Hall, first name Whale. Yeah.
Yep. And the way we have Stan the dinosaur here.
What? Oh yeah.
The dinosaur named. There is a whale skeleton in this whale hall. I don't know what his name is or her name. But
can we name it now?
I mean, petition to name.
It has a name in which.
I mean, unless it has a name, in which case we'll just make a petition to change its name to whatever we call it.
Whaley McWhaleface.
Gloria.
Gloria.
Glorious whale.
What if it's not female?
Glory.
Glorio.
Glorio. That sounds like someone's trying to make up a fake Greek name.
Sounds like glory hole, so let's avoid that.
No, none of that.
Moving away.
So yes.
We get back to sperm puzzles again.
Absolutely not. Yes, it's a lovely new exhibition, and what's really interesting is they have created a new soundscape for the exhibition, which is made of lots of lovely sea sounds and various different marine animals, and it's really, really lovely.
Well, that's very nice.
Yes.
Because you have what's it called? Dippy the Diplodocus, who is in the Natural History Museum.
I'm loving these.
Dippy the Diplodocus, he's famous.
I know, I've heard of
Dippy
Dippy the Diplodocus.
I thought they moved him. He's not being moved yet. I think it was either last week or this coming week, because he's being replaced with a whale, and it's a real whale skeleton. Real whale? No, it's a live whale being hung from the ceiling. No, that would just be confirmed.
Word.
It's a bit dark. And Dippy, the best part is Dippy's going on tour. Dippy's going on tour around the country and around the world.
Where to?
Do you know where he's going? I don't know yet.
I really want Dippy to have like an Instagram for this tour.
That would be such a good idea, because I keep...
That's some good publicity.
Whoever does the social media for Dippy's tour, I'm just saying, guys...
Well, funny you should say that, because I've been trying to catch the attention of the Natural History Museum by posting a lot of photos that I have taken at their Sensational Butterflies Museum exhibition.
But just in case you don't know, Dippy isn't a butterfly.
No, I know.
That's not the right... I'd go for dinosaurs pictures rather than butterflies.
But I've been using it on my Instagram account, so maybe I'm just hoping they might call me up and be like, hey, you would like to follow Dippy around and be his... What do you call it? His PA? Or no, I was going to say, what do you call it? A groupie! I want to be the Diplodocus groupie.
Right. I'm going to have to write that down.
I want to be the Diplodocus groupie.
I'm tweeting that from the Rocket Science account.
CV, though. Official Diplodocus Dippy groupie.
Amazing.
Yeah, well, apparently he's leaving London. I'm just looking at the Guardian article here. After 112 years.
Is he making his way out into the big wide world?
He is.
This is really sweet, actually.
Yeah, he's been there for 112 years, and he's on his UK tour. It doesn't really tell us where he's going, but he's been replaced by a young blue whale who died in 1891 on an Irish beach. And actually, I remember I was there, and I spoke to the lady who's cleaning it up and all that, and they're rebuilding it a lot with the printing, 3D printing.
Oh,
stuff,
wow.
which is quite cool. And they use lasers to scan it, because they can get it down to like the atom level of exactly how it looks.
Oh, wow.
And he washed up on an Irish beach, and it was on a Wicklow beach, I think. And it was around 152 million years after Dippy the Diplodocus's demise in the US. So he's like the younger version. He's like the cool younger version, despite the fact that he's also dead.
Well... That's just put me in mind of sort of like, we don't do the Minority Report segment anymore, RIP Minority Report, but I kind of do have a really interesting person who unearthed a lot of fossils. She was called Mary Anning, and she was, I think, in her late teens, but she used to go fossil hunting, and she would sell the fossils to local fossil sort of collectors, and they would have it for their private collection, but she'd also clean up the fossils as well. And she was the first person to find a whole skeleton out on the coast.
Really? Of what?
Of an ichthyosaurus.
Ooh, they're one of the first ever discovered marine fossils, actually. As
Yes.
Whereabouts was she based? Was it the
I can't remember exactly.
North Coast?
I think it was the North Coast. There's a really interesting book by Tracy Chevalier about it, which sort of, it's told through the eyes of an old spinster who also has a passing interest in fossils, and who kind of becomes her mentor, and someone who watches Mary Anning sort of grow to local fame. And she ended up selling that skeleton for like not anywhere near what it was worth, and she sort of fell into obscurity for a long time. But she, like, considering the fact that she hadn't been trained to spot or clean fossils, like, she was quite an amazing sort of conservationist in her own right. So
I remember seeing about her at the Natural History Museum.
yeah, like, she's getting more recognition now after her death, but she did sort of like pass away in abject poverty. I wasn't going to be depressing, sorry guys.
Yeah, you said this wasn't depressing, and then you just
I
like,
know,
oh
but
no, I'm just
that
going to
was when I
branch
was
off and
talking
do
about the
something
whale
new.
hole, and now this is something different, sorry.
I know, yeah, well.
So this is a brand new whale hole in Cambridge, you said?
Yes, in the Cambridge Zoology Museum.
And so what exactly, could you explain again what the whale hole is, and whole or hole?
Hall.
Oh, I thought you said whale hole.
in a
I
big-
was like,
big room,
that's a
Megan.
weird ass thing for it to be called.
But yeah, it's just one of in the latest of like a long line of whale exhibitions that have sprung up over the past few years. There's actually an amazing exhibition in Reykjavik in Iceland, which is called Whales of Iceland, and they have huge sort of like 3D like models to size of what the whales would actually be like, and they're all the different whales that you can find just off the Icelandic coast.
That's pretty cool. I think they should definitely have one in Wales, though. Thinking about whales in Wales would be such a great museum.
Very, very true.
It would be cool.
Sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Should we carry on?
So Caitlin's got a story
Yeah.
for us. Well, you've got a story or just a conversation
Just
piece?
like a discussion, really. So we're going to talk about zoos and kind of feelings about zoos, controversies, pros and cons.
And this is in light of a recent news story,
yeah,
isn't
so
it?
it's not really like a news story. It's more like the South Lake Safari Zoo has recently been, they applied for a new license, but it's been rejected.
Oh, I remember reading about this.
Because basically this guy who founded the park, nearly 500 animals died in the space of 4 years in this one park. And
My phone heard someone say something. I was just like,
that was
I'm going to
slightly
pick up on that.
creepy.
Yeah, that was, sorry.
So you're saying?
It's on silent. I know what's going on.
And a keeper was mauled to death by a tiger there as well.
Oh my gosh, really?
So it's been issued a closure order.
I'm sure it was because they hadn't taken like adequate safety measures either.
Yeah, yeah.
And at one point, I think it was a cheetah or something that had escaped, and this guy
They
had
didn't
to.
report it.
They didn't report it, and he went after a cheetah on his motorbike with a firearm or something like that. Something like very, very dangerous and very irresponsible
Yes.
and very, very not good.
This sounds absolutely mad.
That's absolutely terrible. I mean, it's interesting to bring up that kind of like conversation, because I know a lot of people who are very much against zoos,
Yeah.
and then there are a lot of reasons why the zoos do exist for scientific purposes, which I think we'll get onto in a bit.
What's your stance on zoos, Megan?
Yeah.
Well, glad you asked, Ikra. I think a lot of people don't realise what goes on behind the scenes in zoos. Obviously, you only ever see the animals in their rather small enclosures, and that's where a lot of the controversy comes from. But a lot of people don't realise that historically, zoos, but they weren't called zoos back then, were there to be used as a conservation purpose, and it's called ex situ conservation. So it's where you literally take the animals outside of their natural habitat and have to conserve them in zoos because of different reasons. For example, they can't live in their natural habitat because we've destroyed it a lot of the time. So that's the sort of question people ask. They're like, well, what if we can't do anything about their natural habitat and look after them? Then, sorry, why are you showing... what did that say?
Doesn't matter. Carry on.
It said, long live Harambe.
May he rest in peace.
Paddy. Anyway, yeah, and there was... So yeah, there's a lot of good reasons why zoos do exist or did exist, but in my opinion, there is good reasons why zoos shouldn't exist either. But I do have a good story that I could tell you, which is golden tamarins, which are a type of monkey.
Is this about survival, like using zoos to actually bring them back?
Yeah, basically, because there's monkeys called golden tamarins from the Amazonian rainforest, and they've started declining because of the human impact on the Amazon rainforest. So what they had to do is they had to take them ex situ, put them in a zoo, and start a really intensive breeding program. And by doing this, they actually saved the species, because not only did it give them time to help the in situ populations, so the populations in the Amazonian rainforest, but it also helped them, create a breeding program so that they can increase the genetic diversity of the species, and then put them back into the wild. And Paddy's got a cute picture of a golden tamarins. They are really
so
adorable.
cute. Yeah, really nice. I think you'll agree with me on this, that it's actually a case by case kind of. Well, it's just case by case for whether zoos are good or bad in certain animals, and certain zoos and certain countries. There's so many variables involved in like how well they treat their animals and whether those animals should be in the conditions they are
in the first place.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
guess,
So, as you said with these, it's about bringing them back. They were very much endangered. They were critical, I'm guessing. Is that right?
Yeah. They used to be critically endangered,
And
but I think they got brought back.
Well, now they're just. I mean, it's still bad. They are
endangered,
but
getting better.
It's better than critical, and that's the sort of thing you want to hear.
Because zoos do buy time, I think, is one of the things that you could say. Not only do they give you the opportunity to create breeding programs and make sure that there's enough of the species and that there's a good diversity.
It's about the space that I find worrying, really.
Yeah.
I think also zoos bring in the money to then you can put that into research into how to conserve other animals. So
that's a good
maybe less
point.
sexy animals. So obviously pandas are like
they are sexy
big
animals.
ones.
They're
Top
called
sexy
flags.
animal.
They're called
Well,
flagship
I think
species.
surely the whole point is pandas are not sexy animals, and that is kind of the problem.
But they're the ones that people know about and they want to conserve. So they're like the big hot topic. Whereas there are a lot of animals that people don't really care about, like a lot of insects and kind of smaller mammals, things
and
like
equally
that.
important, to be honest.
Exactly, yeah. So zoos kind of allow the money to be raised to to kind of conserve them as well.
Yeah.
Whereas people may not care about them otherwise.
It's something I might ask in one of my future essays, actually. It's all about flagship species. So a flagship species is like a...
That's a better way to phrase
polar
it.
bear, sexy.
Sexy panda.
A definition of a flagship species is literally a charismatic species. And I can't really imagine, like, a panda doing stand-up comedy, but,
Yeah.
Bit different.
But you're right, they do bring in a lot of money, but obviously there is the issue of where is that money actually going?
Yeah.
Is it actually going to conservation? And why does the zoo exist? Does it do conservation? Does it help with the conservation of animals? Or is it just there for entertainment in the case of tiger temples?
Yes, definitely.
It's a different story. Tiger temples are very different.
So
area.
there was the tiger temple that was closed down
about a year ago.
Yeah, recently.
It got raided, and it took 10 years to eventually raid it.
Because they found the
500? I think
500?
500
it was
frozen
something
tiger
like that.
cubs.
Yeah, it was
frozen
cubs.
dead tiger cubs, obviously dead. But like that, obviously they've been trying to just hide.
And a lot of the time, these animals are drugged and completely unaware of what's going on. To stop, funnily enough, they're mauling.
Yeah, it does. Like,
yeah.
it doesn't make any sense for them to be completely sane whilst doing so. Like,
well, it would just be dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, they need to be sedated, otherwise they're not going to, maul people, as we said. But at the same time, like, even that itself, even if they lived in a very nice habitat, sedating them so they can meet people is not right.
Yeah, no, it's horrible.
They are just like an attraction. There's
and you get people go, but they don't really think about the consequences of them going and them funding this kind of thing. So I think it's definitely important to think about where you do put your money and what your money is going to. So do the zoos that you're paying to go to, do they actually put this money into conservation? Is it just a money-making scheme?
Or is it going towards, like, a better cause?
Yeah.
I know that in the case of, like, tiger temples, they're often run... Like, in the case of the one that was raided, that was run by monks.
That doesn't make it good.
No, exactly.
That's the thing. Like, it can sound as good as you want, but at the same time, they are still running that machine
Which is why I find it quite difficult when people... I have met people who are so against zoos. They're like, no animal should ever be behind bars. And I'm like, but zoos do good things, like especially when it comes to conservation attempts.
Yeah.
You know, there's sometimes, as I said, animals can only live inside in a zoo, because in the outside world we've completely destroyed their environment, and there's nothing they can do. If we put them back into the world, they would die, and to some extent we have a responsibility.
It's a ratio though there,
yeah,
isn't it? Because you've got some that definitely that is the case, but that again is the very vast minority of them that actually require that, and those centres that do look after them are very specialised towards just looking after that animal in particular. People are thinking mainly seeing big, large mammals locked up in cages, big primates locked up in cages. It's that sort of thing that people worry about. And the original zoos were set up as people left, mainly the UK, I'm guessing. I don't know how far back I'm going, but from my knowledge, they left the UK, went and collected animals and just brought them back to show.
Yeah, that was the same.
Yeah.
It's a bit like in circuses where they just literally use them for entertainment purposes. And there's obviously that great news that there was a big circus in the US which has been officially banned from using animals, which is really great.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when you think about kind of it from an aquarium point of view as well.
Sea life.
So have you
and
seen
stuff.
blackfish?
Yeah.
So all that kind of thing, like making sure animals have enough space and are actually capable of surviving in kind of captivity. So
weirdly, I think, from a marine biologist perspective, I'm actually really against aquariums a lot of the time. And I mean, little fish, I'm not that fast. I mean, people have fish tanks. Like,
that's the thing. It's about the scale thing. This goes into questions about kind of the ethical concerns of any animal. So should we have pets at the same time if you bring it down to that scale? Because you think it's okay to have a small animal but not a big animal, but why is there a decision? Like, why do you distinguish this animal deserves to be kept as a pet and this one doesn't, just because of their size? Like, what's important about the animal that makes them pettable or small enough fish to be kept somewhere rather than big enough? That's the question of kind of how do you kind of set that line, and should there really be a line there? Should you either be like all against or all for?
It's just not that easy to be completely pro or completely against this kind of thing. I mean, I'm sure people are, but I find it difficult to kind of come to a conclusion about how I feel about it. And I also because part of me is like, I agree with zoos for the conservation thing, but then would never go to like a sea life place that's got like big mammals, say like orcas or whatever.
I want to know where safari parks come into all of this.
I was actually just about to bring that up, because interesting, I have a friend who does zoology who is actually very relaxed about the idea of hunting, which is a bit like safari. You know Cecil the Lion? Classic story of Cecil the Lion. So,
well, do you want to go with the Cecil the Lion story?
Well, yeah, so Cecil the Lion became quite infamous in about 2013, I think it was.
I'll find out for you.
I think it was more recent than that.
2015, was it?
Maybe?
Possibly.
15, yeah. 15.
Oh, it was 15, sorry.
July 2015.
I forget what year it is. And basically what happened was he was shot for money by, I think it was a dentist from the US.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of like travel...
so it's like a sport
hunting,
that the US people do.
but people will travel specifically to go hunt exotic animals and pay for the privilege.
So my friend is actually quite pro this, even though she's a conservation biologist. She's kind of pro it simply because the amount of money that it brings in from that people pay to shoot one animal is a hell of a lot of money, because these are very threatened animals. The line she draws is where it's, illegal hunting.
This is poaching. Things like rhinos, where you're just taking horns. You're not actually killing the animal anyway. You're not paying for it as well. It's just people going in and taking them, and that's it. That's all they're taking from it.
Exactly.
Nothing's put in. I mean, I'm not for any kind of cruelty there, but at the same time, like, it does sound better in a way than you'd think, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting kind of situation. I personally completely disagree with hunting wild animals, especially in those kind of conservations where they aren't really wild animals. It's not like you're going to be stalking this lion across however long. They're in contained areas, so it's not really, I don't know.
It's not really fair. It's not a fair chance for them, is it? Hunt,
but yeah.
I mean, there was also the news, there was the last black rhino, and he has something like 5 security guards around him day and night who are just there, and they're told that they can shoot on sight if anyone comes anywhere near this rhino. So it's quite people go through very big big efforts to protect these animals, which is a good thing. But
and also in that kind of situation where people are paying huge amounts of money to be able to go and kill these animals, it's like, oh, okay, well, you're allowed to do it because you've got this money. Whereas
I still think there's something sickening about that, to be honest.
Oh, completely, yeah.
But that's just my own personal. Like, I can understand economically why places like that will allow for that to happen, and I can understand why sort of touristy hunting exotic animals happens. But I really, really disagree with it.
I'm going to finish this now with one fact about lions that will blow your mind. But did you know that about 10,000 years ago, the lion was other than humans, it was the most widespread large land mammal?
Really?
I did not know that.
How amazing is that?
And now look at them, they're vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. Good job, humans.
We've brought it all back down to a very, very sad note again. But don't worry, we'll bring it back up.
I'm going to talk to you all, again, potentially, about some genetically modified. I can't even start. Modified.
Are you alright, Paddy?
I'm not anymore.
Oh,
no.
I'm sorry.
Genetically modified sterile mosquitoes. They're long
Sounds
words.
fascinating.
They're long words, okay? Basically, this week, I think it was about 2 days ago, 2 papers were published, one in Nature and one in Nature Microbiology, about a way to sterilize mosquitoes. So there's this bacteria that's found in about 60% of insects and a load of mosquitoes. And the mosquito that carries Zika virus and dengue fever and things like that doesn't have it. It's one of the only ones that doesn't. And what this bacteria does is it prevents the sperm cells from ever separating, so the cells never get to divide, and therefore obviously nothing happens. So what they're doing is they're taking that gene, putting it into the mosquito, the one that is in Zika and things. It's subtropical and tropical regions.
I think it's Anopheles.
It's not actually.
No, because that one's the malaria mosquito.
Damn it!
Vivax?
No.
Plasmodium?
None of these. It's actually...
I'm really impressed with all you guys' mosquito knowledge.
Did you guys also do an essay undergrad about mosquitoes?
I think quite a few of us did.
Parasitology, third year.
There we go.
Aedes aegypti.
Aegypti.
Which, I mean, I don't think that adds much to the fact that we all got that wrong, guys. Come on. But yeah, those ones you actually named do already have this bacteria in their cells, so they don't need it, and nothing will happen if you start giving them this because they've already got it. But what they do is they control the numbers of these mosquitoes around, so you can actually just bring it right down, and Zika kind of just disappears, and dengue fever can just disappear, which is pretty cool. But what I think's probably most important about it is that this sort of stuff can then eventually be moved into, well, as you guys were saying, these other mosquitoes. So is it which ones did you say?
There was, Vivax is apparently a parasite, which we've got a stern telling off from my parasitology friend.
Good.
But there was Anopheles.
Yeah, Anopheles.
The Anopheles mosquito, I think there's several different kinds.
Yeah, there's a few. But all those ones, potentially we could put it into them in a different way and start working at malaria, which is pretty important right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big debate about something like this is, would it be sensible? Obviously, the technique is well researched, especially if it's ended up in Nature, fingers crossed. But you'd think that we'd have to give things a long, hard think and debate before we start sterilising mosquitoes left, right, and centre, because there's no real way of knowing what that will do to the food chain in the areas affected.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, because I mean, I'm a big pro-GM food person simply because of the help that it can do feeding populations and that sort of thing. But there is always an element of what in biology they call biosecurity and biorisk, because apparently if you put the word bio before it, it relates to biology. But basically, there's always going to be that kind of risk. But then again, mosquitoes and malaria is the biggest killer in the world, isn't it?
It is.
So, what do? You want to help people, but you have to be careful.
I mean, it's interesting.
I guess some people would kind of maybe raise the ethics of sterilizing a whole species of, is that ethical?
Yeah, but it kind of comes into the idea that when you're talking about conservation, there's bats that are starting to decline in their population because they're getting this fungus or something called like white nose fungus, and people are like, well, if you wipe out white nose, why should you prioritize the bat over the fungus?
Yeah.
But then again, also mosquitoes are annoying and they bite you, so actually I say get rid of them. Just get rid of them.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Megan weighing in there with her opinions. No, I do see the whole point of going through with this, but I think it's interesting that people always pretend to bring up malaria when talking about sort of parasite sort of driven diseases, I guess what I'm saying. But malaria is totally and completely preventable, and the only reason why it isn't prevented is because the countries where it's most prevalent can't afford prophylaxis and mosquito nets, and it's really, sadly, as simple as that.
And the other thing is apparently the Aedes mosquito is actually an invasive into South America, so it's actually not meant to be there in the first place. So wiping that out of South America isn't going to be that big of an issue, because they're not meant to be there in the first place.
Where are they originally from?
I'm waiting for my friend to really quickly tell me, because I have no idea. I'd say Africa? I don't know, I was just going to...
Different region?
Yes, my friend says yes, it's Africa. Thank
God. You could have won that.
Oh, I could have just, completely pretended it. Yeah, no, I totally know all about mosquitoes.
Mission sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Fact or fiction? Yes, we did it. That was our temporary jingle for the new, well, not the new section anymore, but our section quiz called Fact or Fiction. This week, as per usual, I will be asking questions or making statements, and the team have to guess whether or not it's fact or fiction. So are you guys ready? So what's the buzzers this week?
I'll go first then, go on then. Right, this is mine.
I love that.
I have a terrible buzzer.
This is mine.
That's actually terrifying.
What is that?
It's
the
a
sound
bison.
Oh, I thought it was that video of the tortoise having sex, and they make
the one that sounds like Owen Wilson.
Wow.
I have not seen this.
Have you not? It's hilarious.
I haven't even seen it.
That's going to be our zoology. That should be our zoology post for this week onto the page. It's just a picture of it.
I might just turn my phone back on.
Oh my god, what have we got?
Shame. That's your shame.
The usual shame. Oh, ding ding.
There you go.
Perfect, right, shame. Are you ready? I'm ready.
Yes. Is everyone ready to start the quiz?
Ready.
Right.
I'm ready.
Buzz at the ready.
First question, or first statement. A pet cloning industry exists.
Shame. Bison.
Who's that mysterious answerer?
I did see you tap it first, to be fair, so I'm going to say give it to Caitlin first.
True.
Fact is
fact.
The whole point of the quiz is you say fact or fiction.
I want to say fiction.
Okay.
I'm going with fact.
Because I personally think that if that was such a big thing, if that was the case, then everyone would be cloning their pets to make sure that they didn't have to let go.
Cloning. I'm going to say no. I think it's
fiction.
Fiction, fact?
Fake news!
Okay, fake news. No, the answer is fact.
Yes!
So,
a woman cloned her cat. I remember seeing that.
In 2004, a cat called Little Nicky was cloned for $50,000 by BioOuts International. And for a large price, you can get your pet cloned too.
I didn't realise you...
But the thing is they don't live very long.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd pay that much to have one of my siblings cloned. Sorry, guys.
I don't see how that's ethically allowed.
Well, it is, but it's a private industry. Like, it's a private company that's doing it.
That doesn't make it okay. Privatising something doesn't make it right.
It is weird.
But surely the clone of the pet would have lots of health problems like Dolly the sheep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which
it just seems a bit unfair, really. Like,
that seems quite cruel, guys.
Yeah.
Megan.
I'm sorry. It's a good question.
Shame.
Right.
Shame.
Sorry, you needed that.
Thank you. Next question. Flamingos aren't actually pink.
I want to say fact.
Fiction.
Well,
fiction.
Okay.
But they're pink. They are pink.
I'm about 98% sure.
So the answer is fiction.
Yeah.
Wait, what colour are
It's 'cause what they
they?
Flamingos are not actually pink. They're actually naturally white. It's
Diet.
but it's because their diet. Yeah, it's their diet of shrimp and algae which make them turn a shade of pink.
Yes.
And it's actually the case in zoos where zoos feed flamingos dyed food to make their colours more vivid because that's what
Really?
people want to see. Yeah.
What?
Caitlin,
Thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, is
I'm
it
just
ethical or not?
astounded.
I thought that was. This is not like a throwing shade, but I thought that was quite common knowledge.
Clearly not.
Hey.
That's the
I
thing.
don't know why I thought that was common knowledge. I watched it on a painting show.
Well,
So Caitlin's, you've currently got the leading score so far at 2.
Winner.
Paddy, you've got 1, and Ikra, I'm afraid you have 0.
oh well.
Shame.
Well, in cricket that would be a duck, so really I have a duck.
That's not better. A duck's not a good thing.
But
Break
it's-
your duck. You need a quack now.
No,
Wah.
I refuse to quack.
Right, next one. Hit.
Okay, next question. Cats can't taste sweetness.
That's so sad.
Go on.
For shame.
I want to say fiction just because I want the cats to be able to taste the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Caitlin?
I'm going to say fact.
I'm stuck.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. It's such a non-fact that I think it is a fact.
Fact.
Yeah.
Ikra, you're really not doing great this week.
I'm great at predicting the wrong answers, okay?
So, cats are actually the only mammal that can't taste sweetness, and it's because they have no taste receptors to experience the taste of sweetness.
Hang on. If they've got no taste, wait, you mean just no sweetness?
Sweetness receptors.
Because I'm pretty sure, isn't the model that we've got like sweet at the front and bitter at the
That's
back
also fake.
absolute fake? So
Absolute
surely, like,
rubbish.
they don't just have sweet receptors; they have receptors for taste.
Yeah,
But they have... You have individual sweet receptors, but
Oh,
they're,
not
they're
the-
all over.
Yeah, okay.
Just not in one place.
That makes
Mm.
more sense.
And yeah, so cats can't taste sweetness, and that's probably why my cat is so bitter.
Oh.
But
Oh my god, I am the worst at puns. Never mind. Let's move swiftly on from that.
If you've ever heard someone just like collapse inside before, that was live.
That's so sad. I'm really hoping people at home are laughing, but it's probably not true.
Yeah, you could hear it.
Shut up, Paddy. Okay, next question. Fruit flies only live for 24 hours. I'm going to say Paddy gets there first.
Don't you dare look. You tried
I
to
didn't
answer.
say anything.
I know, but you went. No one could see this, but she just kind of waved her finger as if she was just.
As
about
though
to
I
say
was going to
something.
speak, but I didn't.
I'm going to say fact this time. Fact.
Wait, what was the question I asked? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just
Stellar quizmaster right here.
I
Yeah.
completely forgot.
I'm going to go fiction.
I'm also going to go fiction because I think that I need to live longer than that for genetic
They
experiments.
use them for, like, circadian rhythm studies,
yeah,
don't
like Drosophila.
Okay, so the
Guys.
answer is fiction.
Uh,
So it's
A point!
finally
A point!
Icarus got
My
one.
kingdom for a point!
they? Oh my god, maybe I did learn something in my degree.
Maybe I didn't, because I definitely did that. You didn't even go!
No, I didn't. I didn't go to that module.
I
but-
did. I went to pretty much every one. It was one of the few I went to, and
Oh.
So it's actually a
Sorry, Paddy, that was for you.
it's actually a common misconception though that fruit flies only
there's a
live
fly.
for
I'm
24
going to
hours.
find it. I think it's
There
a
is
mayfly.
it's a mayfly. Mayflies
well,
live
that's why I was
for less than a
confused.
day, which is
Okay.
very sad. But fruit flies, people always just like, oh, just leave it; it'll die within a day if there's something that flies around your room.
And it stays
Actually-
for years.
Well, a month, maybe not quite a year's, but it does live up for a month. So that annoying fly in your room, not going away anytime soon.
Oh.
I think that's all of the zoology-based questions I have.
No, you can hit us with some other ones now. Go on.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Take your pick.
Lightsabers do exist.
That's very ambiguous.
Lightsabers have been invented then.
I want to say fact. 'Cause I'm just imagining a very strong laser that can cut through bone and sinew and...
Okay, that's a laser, though. That's not a
Lightsaber.
lightsaber. I'm going to say
Wait,
no.
I'm going to say the equivalent of a lightsaber exists, so...
I'm going to say fiction.
Okay, alright then.
I'm gonna say fact because otherwise, why
Caitlin.
would she bring this up? Like,
Well, I'm very good at coming
Is
up
it a
with
trick
very
question? That's true,
misinterpreted
yeah.
questions. Well, the answer is fiction, I'm afraid.
No one
You're
can
on
make
such a-
light just stop.
Well, that's the issue. It's
Yeah.
easy to
Of
make
course.
lasers that will cut through anything, but we have yet to make one that can actually stop at saber length. Actually, it says
Saber length.
right here I've
What-
written
what length
sober
i-
length, so...
Well, I wonder
What's
how you were
saber
doing. Yeah, what? Tell us what saber
Well,
length
it's
is.
You've seen
unit of
lightsabers.
measurement.
I'm going to find out the average saber length. Give me a minute.
But the other
There is.
issue
There will
is
be.
that...
Well, that sounds like a euphemism.
The other issue is that the laws of physics means that if two lightsabers that potentially will exist did collide, then they would actually just go straight through each other rather than make some noise and clash. So it would just completely defeat the point of Star Wars and make it a lot less exciting.
You're right.
Just seething over here.
Yeah.
Just seething.
36 inches saber length.
Wow.
Are
you okay, Megan?
What are you doing?
No one can see this, but Megan has turned an interesting shade of red.
Slightly blotchy.
What are you on about? Blotchy.
No, there's definitely a little bit of blotchy going on.
No.
Nothing, it's just...
Moving on.
That was accidental, but...
Accidental shade.
On you, Megan. Put it together.
Get my head out of the gutter, yeah.
Oh.
Who got that one right?
Me.
Not I.
Just me.
You did. Okay, Paddy. You got
Do you have have you got the points? Like
I do.
tallied?
I'm tallying them up for the
Amazing.
first time.
I think I only have one.
Yeah, you unfortunately you only have one. Right. Got some more interesting ones. There are actually 4 states of matter. Turkey came up first.
Right. Actually 4 or more than 3? Because I'm pretty sure there's more than 4. So, like, if you're going to say, oh yeah, there's 4, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, but there's probably more as well. So I'm going to... I don't know what I meant to say here.
So you don't know the answer?
Yeah, but I want a point. So
There
hang
are
on.
the
There are
statement-
different... Hang on.
the
There
statement
are
is
4, though. Like, there are 4. Yeah,
4.
fact. I'm going to go for fact.
I was going to say fact too,
There
to be
are-
honest, because I know the answer to
Alright,
that
I'll
one.
say there are only 4 states of matter.
Oh, only 4.
Ooh.
Fiction.
I want to say fact, because I think there's 4 that have been confirmed through scientific study, and, like, whether or not there are more to be added later is for further study. But I'm going to say fact.
I have no idea. I'm going to go with fact.
I was going to go with meh.
Just one
I
of the
feel
two.
like- Go on.
Go on.
So the answer is... Wait, what did I say? There are only 4 states of matter. That's fiction.
Yeah. There's one that's been found in the eye.
So...
What?
So basically there are 4 fundamental states
Plasma,
of matter. Plasma
solid,
being the 4th
liquid,
one
Yeah.
that no one really
gas.
gets told about. But there has recently been studies that have not only... There's something called the Bose-Einstein condensate, which is a dilute gas which has been proven to exist because it was first theorized by Einstein. I think it's now been proven. And the second one... Oh, you've got... What's
This is where I got this eye thing from. In the eye of a chicken, yeah, a
Okay.
new state of matter has been found.
And what is the state of matter called?
It's called... Well, okay, it's called disordered hyperuniformity. But yeah, that doesn't
That
really help
doesn't
in any way.
sound like a state of matter
Yeah,
to
but
me.
that's just... It's not one word. It's still a thing. And I get a point.
Then I do not. Okay.
Well, the other thing I was going to say is that the thing that caused me to make this statement today was because there was something called time crystals,
Oh, of course, time
which
crystals.
came in.
Have you heard about these?
Came
Oh.
into the news recently.
That's so cool.
Sounds like something out of like Doctor Who. Time crystals. They were proposed by Nobel laureate Frank Wilkes in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty quick turnaround then. If it's from 2012 to now, that's pretty quick in the
Science world, yeah.
But currently we have no use for them, so we've created these time crystals and I have no idea what to do
Well,
with
what
them.
exactly are time
Yeah, what
crystals?
are
Sorry,
they?
like I'm completely
I wouldn't be able to tell you because I could not figure it out.
It's to do with the fact that they change instead of. It's really difficult to describe. It's to do with the fact that they change temporary. Does that make sense? With time, rather than they change their structure in other ways. So, I'm gonna have to find. Okay, look. I will post something on the Facebook page later.
Okay.
I'm trying to read the
a really
Wikipedia
good.
page
Yeah,
now
I'll show
and
you.
it
a-
makes no sense.
I'll find the really good article that I read about this. I'll post it later, and we can all enjoy time crystals. Is that good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
How are we doing for scores? Is there like a tie at all, or
So who got that
is
one
that
right?
it? I got that one right.
Paddy, okay.
Paddy's
It is
staring me down,
Unfortunately, a
smugly.
tie at the moment.
Okay, right. Last
Ikra,
question then.
You have one.
No, she hasn't won.
No, you have not one. You have one.
I have one.
But
A single.
Yes.
Paddy and Caitlin are tying at the moment with 4. So we're on our last question.
Is this quickest to the buzzer now? Because
Oh, my buzzer's so slow.
I'm,
so is
I'm
mine.
gonna let this one be between you guys because
you can still guess.
Okay,
But you have to
I-
guess last, so we can't change.
oh, that was accidental.
There's so much accidental
Axibel,
shade.
sorry.
Axibel.
Okay. I'm going to have to come up with some more questions at some point because I'm running through them quite quickly. Travelling on the tube is worse than smoking 2 cigarettes.
I mean, objectively, I'm not even talking about health, but yeah.
You're right.
I would rather smoke 2 cigarettes.
You both came up.
That was accidental too.
I love the fact that she get joined in as well. Like, Hickory, you got to wait till us, and then it's like
Sorry.
shame. Ring.
I just wanted to throw my 2 penny worth. It's not like I'm gonna win. Come on.
True.
So, what's your answers?
I'm gonna say fact.
Well,
I feel
I've got to technically say fiction then,
No,
because
you
we
can
can't
say
draw.
fact. You
No.
can draw because at the end of the day,
This could
you
just
and
be a
Nick are
sudden
the
death
main-
kind of deal,
Yeah.
where we just keep going forward until one of you guys wins.
Well, yeah, I think. Yeah, I agree.
Fact.
Yeah.
Fact.
fact.
What do you think, Hikari?
I'm gonna say fact.
Cool. Well, you've all got it right.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Another point.
Yeah, no. So, travelling on the tube for more than 40 minutes in London is equivalent to smoking 2 cigarettes due to the concentration of dust. I wrote dusk. Dust particles.
The concentration of dusk. They keep all the dusk down there until later.
Until it gets dark. So yeah, don't travel on the tube. That's why I hate going on the tube. It's like,
Just don't go down to London.
It's not much better above ground, let's be honest.
No.
That's also true. I mean, there's all this stuff in the news about don't
Yeah.
go outside, don't let your kids exercise outside, and schools are closing down their playgrounds because people are like, don't go outside, you're going to die.
And on lighter note, it was sunny today, yeah?
It was
Yeah.
sunny
It was
today in Manchester.
And we
of
spent
all
the whole
places.
day inside.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
All day
Looking at it.
classes. Do I give one more question?
Yeah,
or-
we're going to have to.
You're gonna need a tiebreaker.
Oh god, I haven't got any good questions.
Let's hope we
Okay,
both
jetpacks
agree.
can't work in space.
Oh.
You don't have to press it now that he's pressed it anyway, so go.
Jetpacks don't work in space.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm basing this on the film Gravity, where, you know, they're flying around and jetpacks.
I think that's fiction. I think... Well, I don't know what gravity's like. I haven't actually seen Gravity, which I know is a bad thing, but...
Neither
I think
Neither
if you...
have I.
Okay, so
Neither
no...
have
Okay, that's alright then.
You're in good company.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like you could. I think they could work. Like, in my mind, they could work. If they actually kicked something out in the back, then they would, because that's all propulsions. But I'm not going to just now keep saying that, because that gives away things.
I want this. Oh, actually, Caitlin, you go second. Go on.
I feel like that's quite a good explanation. Like, maybe they do work. My immediate reaction was fiction, so I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
Even though maybe it's not true.
Wait, so you're the same as me then? Because you said don't work in space, didn't you?
Yeah,
So
they
wait.
do not work in
I
space.
think they do work in space.
You think they do work in space? Okay, I'll say they don't work in space.
Okay, so you say fact.
I'm with Caitlin. I don't think they
Fact.
work
You
in
say fact.
space.
It's fiction. They do work in space.
Do they?
Yes!
Yeah.
Propulsion!
They do work in space because, despite what, because just like in film Gravity, they can fly around as much as they like. But do you want to know what actually was the fiction part of the film? Sandra Bullock,
Which bit of that film was fiction?
which none of you guys have seen, which kind of defeats the point of this.
Well, Sandra Bullock isn't an astronaut, so that's fiction.
That's obviously fiction, but
We haven't been there.
it was actually her tears. So she cries
Oh,
while
they
she's in
just
space.
stay in your eye,
But of
didn't
course they wouldn't do that.
Well, no, because in it's actually the opposite. So they showed that her tears like floated away.
they? No, they stick on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen
so
Chris Hadfield wringing a towel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it all sticks there.
Yeah.
Again, another thing we'll have to post later. But Chris Hadfield...
Yeah,
the astronaut-
not great for radio.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of... we do
He's
this every
wringing
time.
out a towel.
I'm wringing out
An
a towel,
invisible
and
towel.
what happens
Everyone
is the
knows that.
water just sticks in kind of a ball a bit. If you don't move too like
surface
erratically.
tension.
Yeah, it's
What
to
it
do
is.
with, it's completely to do with surface tension. So I guess with the crying, they'd just stay around your eye. It would just kind of stay there until you shook your head or something. They'd never just fall off.
You would have thought by now we'd realise we're doing a radio show and stop trying to do like
Yeah.
weird arm movements that no one else can see.
Yeah, I know.
So how do you cry in space? Like,
You do cry, but
Alone.
it just sticks to your face like any other, like it does on Earth, you know. Because
Okay, yeah.
down your face.
And on that depressing note, we are done for this week. Well,
Yeah.
do you want to say something at this?
Oh yes, I have some zoology news. My old zoology department that I spent 3 years in has now been closed down because of asbestos. So woohoo!
And on that happy note, we're going to leave you.
Paddy, you won, by the way.
Yeah! Happy note.
Damn it.
Nearly,
Um,
Caitlin.
Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.